Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Don't.
ma'am. Joined, ma'am.
I see.
So, Professor G. Saraswati, ma'am, among us. So, let me give brief introduction about ma'am. Professor G. Saraswati, ma'am, she is now currently working as a professor in Electrical and Electronics Engineering Department of University College of Engineering, Vizianagaram. And Dr. G. Saraswati did her PG in Control System Engineering and took her PhD in order reduction techniques. She has more than 30 years of experience in teaching and research. At present, she is guiding 3 PhD scholars. One scholar is submitting and two received their degrees. She held positions like head of the Department of Electrical and Electronics Engineering, vice principal academics, and vice principal of University College of Engineering, Vizianagaram. She published nearly 60 technical papers in international journals, national and international conferences. She has involved in many assignments. She presented technical papers, chaired technical sessions. She organized, chaired international and national workshops, conferences, and seminars. She has started IEEE student chapter in the college. So once again, I am welcoming you, ma'am,
Thank
for this FTP. So please
thank
start
you.
your session, ma'am. Please share
Sure.
your screen.
Okay. And good evening to all of you. Just I want to start this topic on model reduction techniques. So actually, I'm very happy that there is a faculty development program on advanced control strategies. Uh, and when Mr. Chiranjeevi contacted me what I should take, then he said modal order reduction techniques. So actually, this order reduction techniques became popular from 1976, and still it is going on because uh, there is a need. Because I'll tell you one by one why it is needed, and one by one we'll discuss. So my first session, this session is uh, dedicated to introduce about order reduction. What is the necessity in doing this and where we apply all these things. I'll give brief examples, but in next section I'll definitely discuss with reduction techniques. So overview of the lecture will be like this. I'll introduce about large scale systems and this modeling in time domain and frequency domain, and what are the basic principles and properties, and what are the advantages, and a small case study and conclusion. So, so when we say large scale systems, naturally control systems means you can take anything in this world, because day to day technology is advancing and the problems are becoming challenging. So naturally there is a complexity. When we talk about large scale systems, then what do you mean by large? So you can give many definitions, but two things attracted me a lot. That is, a system is considered large scale system if it can be decoupled or partitioned into a number of interconnected subsystems or small scale systems for both computational and practical reasons. Or you can think in other way, a system is a large scale system when its dimensions are so large that conventional techniques of modeling, analysis, control, design, and computation fail to give reasonable solutions with reasonable computational efforts. So a system is large when it requires more than one controller. So naturally, you will have a very large scale system, but how to deal with it? So that actually researchers, they concentrated on these two aspects. So that's why I'm going to discuss about these things. And then my next slide. So just I'm giving the details. Before going to that, I want to say one thing, that people nowadays say that large scale systems with MATLAB and all we can deal, no problem. That's what they say. But I'm going to say that this is not that easy, because we, in the previous slide, I told about interconnected subsystems. So you can't deal in toto. Any system you can't deal in toto. Naturally, every
Ma'am, sorry for the interruption, ma'am.
yes.
Slides are not moving, ma'am. It is
Not
showing
moving.
first. Yes, ma'am. Only first slide is showing.
The next slide is not coming.
No, ma'am.
Title.
Yes, the title slide is showing, ma'am.
Oh. Overview of the lecture,
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. Not showing.
no. Then again I'll share. I'll see.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, now, ma'am, now it is showing, ma'am.
Now it is showing, yeah?
Yes, ma'am. Large scale systems are often.
Okay. Then it's showing.
Okay, ma'am.
PPT now?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Now it is showing.
Ma'am, please choose a slideshow, ma'am. Enlarge the.
Actually, I enlarged the thing, but you are saying that it's not showing.
Now
Actually,
again it has come to first slide.
Yeah, I know that. But what I did is just a slideshow I started, but it is not.
Madam, please kindly press F5.
Now, whether you are able to see overview of the lecture?
No, ma'am. Now first slide is showing, ma'am.
Only. Okay. Then what I do is just in this way. I think if people are able. Yeah,
yes.
That's what. Even when I take classes, also this is some problem I observed.
So you may go as per your own convenience.
If I put like this,
yeah, it is good.
I think
good.
No problem.
It will work.
Okay then.
Okay, madam, no problem.
Then I'll explain like this, slide by slide.
Okay.
So I want to give introduction about large scale systems. So that's what I said now. And later, because large scale systems, generally researchers are dealing in time domain or frequency domain. So that also I'll explain what are the different methods and all. And what are the properties for time domain systems and frequency domain systems. And similarly, what are the properties of higher order systems? What are the properties? What should be the properties for reducing the higher order system? And what are the advantages? All and a case study I'll discuss. So, coming to this large scale system, I told about the challenges the society is facing in dealing with the high technology systems. So naturally, when you go for perfection, naturally the complexity will increase. So that complexity, if you want to analyze the system and design, then naturally there will be problems with that complexity. So naturally that dynamic order of that controlled system will be large. Then when we say large, how large is large? Is it physical? No, it's not a physical dimension. It is what you say that order. We say order of the system when we say control systems. So the apt definitions, there are so many definitions, researchers, they'll give so many definitions, but the apt definitions too I selected. The one is a system is considered large scale system if it can be decoupled or partitioned into a number of interconnected subsystems or small scale systems for both computational and practical reasons. Naturally, I'll give you one example also for that later. Similarly, a system is a large-scale system when its dimensions are so large that conventional techniques of modeling, analysis, control, design, and computation fails to give reasonable solutions with reasonable computational efforts. That's why a system is large when it requires more than one controller, because when you may deal systems into subsystems, and each subsystem may need a different controller. So naturally, when you want more controllers, different controllers, you have to separate them. Similarly, large-scale systems are often modeled as a set of interconnected lower dimensional subsystems. Means initially people used to take like this. Similarly, because they can't handle such a large systems, so they used to make parts, or they used to consider only a main what they think. Suppose if you think about poles, then they used to take dominant pair of the poles, remaining they used to neglect. But you can't neglect like that, because every pole will have its own effect on the response. So similarly, they tried. Such systems are prone to various faults due to their wide distribution in space and interdependencies among the subsystems. So you can't ignore anything. So the whole system may stop working normally or damaged even if one subsystem possesses a fault which is not detected and isolated in time. So you can't ignore, that's what I mean to stress. So since 1950s, under purview of classical control theory and its procedures, centrality is inevitable because you can't make them parts. So centrality is inevitable, means you have to make it a center. That for that there are so many procedures. All the underlying assumptions for the following procedures are made under the theme of centrality. That is modeling procedures using differential equations, state space formulations. Means any system can be represented using differential equations. Then of course we will take the Laplace transform, or state space formulations using differential equations, or behavioral procedures like controllability and observability, how they behave, means how, whether we will be able to do estimations, means output, whether we can know the output at any instant. Those things, of course, in control systems you deal. Similarly, stability applications like Nyquist, Routh, Horowitz, and Lyapunov. There are so many methods, graphical and even longhand. Control procedures like series compensation, pole placement technique, optimal control. There are many. So these are all based on centrality only, because these methods are designed for a total system, overall plant. So a notable characteristic of most large-scale system is that centrality fails to hold due to either the lack of centralized computing capability or lack of centralized information. So that is the problem with large-scale system, because if it is large-scale, at some point we will lose the importance of some points that you'll come to know later. So needless to say, many real problems are considered large-scale systems by nature, not by choice. The important points regarding large-scale system are that they often model real-life systems, and the hierarchical or multi-level and decentralized structures depict systems dealing with there are so many, but I listed very few: business, management, economy, environment, transportation, aerospace, water resources, energy, data networks, power networks, ecology, flexible manufacturing networks, and many more. For example, if you see this is a power network, which is a large scale system, but if you divide that into, they will become independent parts. So it is a decentralized, hierarchical, multi-level structure. So you have to deal independently, not as a whole. But the result means you will get power generation, that is central. So you have to consider that. So when you think about hierarchical structures, then earlier attempts to deal with large scale system was to decompose, because you have to decompose them into subsystems. So decompose a given system into a number of subsystems for computational efficiency and design simplification. And in that, for example, Dan Jeng Oaf conceived the idea of decomposition by treating large linear programming LPP problems possessing special structures. He has taken quotient matrices, but the problem is he got sparse matrices. Sparse means there will be very few non-zero elements, mostly zero elements in those matrices. So he got sparse matrices. So two basic approaches to deal with such problems are coupled approach and a decoupled approach. So you can deal like this. Decomposition means you can make them a coupled or a totally decoupled. So the coupled approach keeps the problem structure intact and takes advantage of the structure to perform efficient computation with the following methods. Because you can't separate them, you have to make them coupled. If you think like that, then you have to use this compact basis triangularization and generalized upper bounding. Actually, there are many, but I took very fundamental things, because with these things only you can start thinking. These are very basics in 70s and 80s. Now the thing is different. Even latest also I'll discuss, no doubt. But base we can't sacrifice. That's why you should know the base. So the decoupled approach divides the original system into a number of subsystems involving certain values of parameters. Each subsystem is solved independently for a fixed value of the so-called decoupling parameters, whose value is subsequently adjusted by coordinator in an appropriate fashion, so that the subsystem resolves their problem and solution to the original system is obtained. This I'll explain with this diagram. There is a first level, you can see subsystem 1, 2, so on n. So all subsystems are independently solved, and there is a second level which is a coordinator. So it will take the fittest from those things. So at the first level, n subsystems of the original large scale systems are shown. At the second level, a coordinator receives the local solutions of the n subsystems and then provides a new set of interaction parameters, because there must be a link between subsystems, so that coordinator will do that part by interacting those subsystems. That's why it will take the fit test. So the goal of the coordinator is to arrange the activities of the subsystem to provide a feasible solution to the overall system. So this exchange of solution by the subsystem and the coordination vector will continue until convergence has been achieved. So that is the problem you should get. It will give a feasible solution. That's why I said, because convergence must be achieved. So that may take iterations of after iterations. So we don't know how many iterations it will take. So that's why until convergence is achieved, this exchange of solution will take on. So such a solution is both feasible and optimum naturally, in the sense of minimizing a cost function of the overall system. So the original success of the hierarchical multi-level approach has been primarily in social systems and water resource systems. Today, hierarchical control has been used for many engineering problems such as robotics, manufacturing, and all. Actually, we can't say that these are not there. They are there, but they are using latest technologies and latest methodologies to do such problems. So, but we have to first identify what are the large scale systems, what are the problems we'll get while dealing with these large scale systems. So see how they are taking pain to converge for a feasible solution. So the 5 advantages of hierarchical multi-level structure are: the decomposition of systems with fixed designs at one level and coordination at another is often the only alternative available. systems are commonly described only on a stratified basis. Available decision units have limited capabilities, hence the problem is formulated in a multi-layer hierarchy of sub-problems. The overall system resources are better utilized through this structure. There will be an increase in system reliability and flexibility. So that is the advantage. Actually, these are the studies that have been taken during 80s, because the people have introduced this reduction technology, the reduction techniques or reduction methods to the society, means how to look into the problems. So then they compiled all the things that are available and how it could be looked into. That is the thing they have thought. But still, we should not sacrifice the ethics. We have to follow the ethics to get a solution. So there are so many researchers who have done research and still doing using this basis. So I'm giving, actually, compilation is something which today's actually I gave so much of time to compile whatever is available on order reduction, because I too studied from I think the late 80s this, and I got updated till now. So I thought because I want to give an base as a lecture, so that you will be introduced in this area and you can think of the, don't get means something madam is saying something. No, it is just very basis I am telling. So decentralized control in this, most large scale systems are characterized by great multiplicity of measured outputs and inputs. So you can have measured outputs and inputs even with MATLAB. So you can use this decentralized control. For example, an electric power system has several control substations, each being responsible for the operation of a portion of the overall system. So this situation arising in a control system design is often referred as decentralization. The basic characteristic of any decentralized system is that the transfer of information from one group of sensors or actuators to others is quite restricted. So for example, in the system shown, that is the figure, only the output Y1 and external input U1 are used to find the control V1, and likewise the control V2 obtained through only output Y2 and input U2. So you are having input and you are having the output, but the control V1 or V2 are found with these two only, that is U1 and Y1. So the determination of control signals V1 and V2 based on the output signals Y1 and Y2 respectively is nothing but two independent output feedback problems, which can be used for stabilization or pole placement purposes. So these controllers may be anything, because you want to stabilize the whole system maybe, or to improve the performance, or you want to use for pole placement as required, because you are having a requirement that poles must be placed here. So to do that, you might be using that controller. So it is therefore clear that the decentralized control scheme is of feedback form, indicating that this method is very useful for large scale linear systems. This is a clear distinction from the hierarchical control scheme, which was mainly intended to an open loop structure. So in that, that is an open loop structure, and it is having this decentralized control is having a feedback facility. But even open loop structure also, you can take the open loop structure as it is, then apply controller. That is also possible. It is not that we can't do. We can do anything. The thing is just what you are doing and what you want. These two must be clear. So what are the characteristics of large scale systems is, although there is no universal definition of a large scale system, it is commonly accepted that such systems possesses the following characteristics. I'm giving detailed characteristics. That is, large-scale systems are often controlled by more than one controller or a decision maker involving decentralized computations. The controllers have different but correlated information available to them, possibly at different times. You know, controllers or compensators, whatever you use, because they will have an information, means you will have a set value or reference input, and you wanted that, but what is actual, and those things must be compared. So you are having an information. So the decision must be taken by the controller to get the required output. So that is what I wanted to give in that line. So large-scale systems can also be controlled by local controllers at one level, whose control actions are being coordinated at another level in a hierarchical structure. Large-scale systems are usually represented by imprecise aggregate models. Actually, different types of models are there. I'll discuss in the next slides. So controllers may operate in a group or as a team or in a conflicting manner with single or multiple objective or even conflicting objective functions. So there are all possibilities for this large-scale systems. Large-scale systems may be measured by means of suboptimal or near optimum control, sometimes termed as a satisfactory strategy. So actually, all options are given in this characteristics. So you can use in many ways. For example, I want to say, because we have to give a short line, but it involves so many definitions. So for example, I'm saying recently my scholar got his PhD awarded. He has done in order reduction. He has used order reduction. The thing is, you know, original plant is 7th order. I'll show later. And he got the controller as 14th order. So there are many instances like that. You know, you are having a controller of higher order, but you're. So what you do? When you take the overall plant, then it will be much minimum 14th order. So that is the thing, you know, how to reduce it, then how to characterize it. Suppose if you are giving a white noise, what is meant by white noise means the average value is 0. So if you give a white noise, then or disturbance to the system, the order will increase. Suppose a 7th order may become 109th order. Because actually this reduction methodology is being thought about when they got such problems. So at stable conditions, at normal conditions, you will have lower order. Any machine you take, you will get a type 1 second order system. But if you give a disturbance, it may become very high, very, very high. So it means that you don't get problems. You are getting problems by a fault or a disturbance or anything. So at that instant, how to regulate that problem? So these are the controllers we use to stabilize the system even at disturbance or faults. So that is the necessity has been caused for reduction methods. And modeling of LSS. Actually, you know, you are having systems, but in control systems, what we do is we do mathematical modeling, you know. So the purpose of model must be clearly defined. No single model can be appropriate for all purposes. So suppose you got a mathematical model of some order, but you can't equate it to each and every system. Every model will have its own, every system will have its own model. Can be appropriate for all purposes. So a system's boundary separating the system and the outside world must be defined. So when you are when you are modeling a system or mathematical model you are developing, then there will be some boundaries, some assumptions. So that must be defined. So a structural relationship among different system components which would best represent desired or observed effects must be defined. So there must be a relation. There may be subsystems, so many systems. So there must be a structural relationship between those different systems. So based on the physical structure of the model, a set of system variables of interest must be defined. If a quantity of important significance cannot be labeled, step 3 must be modified accordingly. Because I have given the 8 steps, so the third must be modified accordingly. Sometimes what we do is, why the order is increasing when there is a disturbance. We think that it will not change, the parameter will not change, that will be constant. So at normal conditions, it will be constant. But when there is a difficulty, when there is a problem, naturally that will change. Suppose you are saying Ohm's law. Ohm's law, you always say V is equal to IR. But there is a condition, provided temperature remains constant. But if the temperature exceeds the ambient, then naturally the resistance value will not follow the Ohm's law properly. So that's why you will find hot resistance or cold resistance and all these things. So there will be a boundary. So if that boundary is not satisfied as per your definition, then you must go back to third step. That's what it means. So mathematical descriptions of each system component, sometimes called elemental equations, should be written down. After the mathematical description of each system component is complete, they are related through a set of physical laws of conservation and compatibility, such as Newton's, Kirchhoff's, or D'Alembert. You will write equations. You have done mathematical modeling for electrical systems and mechanical systems, and you have studied in your textbooks, Benjamin Sikku, Ogata, and Nagarath, Gopal. There are so many books. So they all use these principles. So elemental, continuity, and compatibility equations should be manipulated, and the mathematical format of the model should be finalized. So ultimately, you will have a mathematical model for that. So the last step to a successful modeling is the analysis of the model and its comparison with real situation. So till 7th, you will get the model. Means a physical system will be modeled. Then you will verify or you will analyze the model and how it will be with real situations, means similar situations or similar systems. Then you will compare, That is what you do. So this is very basic. So that could be a large scale system or any ordinary system. And introduction to model order reduction. See, you are seeing the rabbits here. So original rabbit is the leftmost one. And you are modeling by taking some, you will follow some ethics. So you are modeling and modeling. So the rightmost is the modeled one. The thing is, it still appears like a rabbit, but it's not like original. But it will say that it is only rabbit, not a lion or an elephant. So that is the model order reduction will do. That reduction method is, it will follow the original system. It will not follow any other system. It will follow its original system. So model order reduction is about capturing dominant features of original system. That is, what are the dominant features of that original system that are to be captured by this reduction model. So they generally require empirical determination of the system parameters. Many different methods have been developed to accomplish the purpose of estimating the dominant part of the large system and finding a simpler system representation that has its behavior akin to the original system. So there are many researchers who have done these things. The main objective of the model reduction is to obtain reduced order approximation of a complex higher order system that retains and reflects the important characteristics of the original system as closely as possible. That is the idea of reduction method. Various methods have been evolved for model reduction, both in time domain and frequency domain. The time domain methods are commonly associated with state space models, while the frequency domain with transfer function or transfer matrix representation. In many systems, the coefficients are constant but uncertain within finite ranges, which are classified as interval systems. Of course, there are interval systems. I have done research in interval systems also, but I am not discussing interval systems because that mathematics is completely different. It is often necessary to estimate bounds for each eigenvalue of complex system. So, model order reduction methods I want to just discuss. There are many methods, but main researchers, earlier researchers I discussed, because nowadays there are so many. So model order reduction methods, time domain methods, and frequency domain methods. So if you take the time domain, in the previous slide I told about the time domain means state space. So there are perturbation methods and aggregation methods. In perturbation, singular and regular, and in singular again single parameter and multi-parameter, both in time scale separation only. Whereas in aggregate, because in aggregate methods so many researchers work, so that is chained aggregation, exact and modal and continued fraction, minimum realization, QR transformation, and error minimization. In error minimization, people see time response methods only using step or impulse. So there are many methods, but these are the earlier research. And in frequency domain, because in India, in most of the IITs, they have done model order reduction. My contemporaries were there in IIT Bombay, IIT Kharagpur, I think IIT Kanpur also, and IIT Roorkee. We all use it to do work, and even we have discussed. I attended their conferences, and they quote me, and like that in Andhra University. So there are so many places who are doing not model, and I found some Dhanbad or some university, they are also doing this nowadays. So most of the people are retired. Even I am going to retire within 2 months. So in India, people are doing frequency response. Even I did the same. So single input, single output systems and multi-input, multi-output systems. In single input, single output system, moment matching. This because moment matching, there will be time moments and Markov parameters will match with the original. Reduce, if you calculate, both must match. And Routh approximation methods, Pade approximation methods, continued fraction in single input, single output system. Similarly, error minimization between higher order and lower order. Again, time response and frequency response. In time response, step and impulse. In frequency response, curve fitting and transfer function. And again, there are mixed methods. Nowadays, there are mixed methods. Even I did mixed method. So modal continued fraction method. Some methods I said because I can't draw this tree. So whatever is fitting, I wrote only those. There are many methods. Modal continued fraction methods and Pade modal method, Pade Routh method. Mixed methods means actually numerator polynomial will be with one method and denominator polynomial will be with a different method. So that is the mixed method means. And multi-input, multi-output systems, again Routh approximation and Pade Routh. It is a mixed method and continued fraction and Pade modal methods. So there are many methods, many methods. I wrote only earlier things, that's what I said. And model order reduction, time domain methods, basic principles. For a specified input, see here I gave only few principles only. There are many principles. For every method there is a principle, but we should not sacrifice the ethics. That's what I am saying. Whatever we develop a reduction method, whatever may be the method, but it has to start from the first principles only. I'll discuss those things in next session, but this time just I am giving an overview. So for a specified input, the time response of the reduced order model is made as close as possible to the time response of the original higher order systems. So in time domain, what we do is we'll get a higher order time then response, then we'll get the reduced order response. We compare both, and reduced order response must follow closely the original higher order system. So one method of Sinha et al. On minimizing a specified error criterion which minimizes the perpendicular distance between the responses. So actually we have to reduce the distance between the responses. Limitation of this method is poor convergence properties of pattern search algorithms, because these are the people who have done initially, but they have done modified things and they are having excellent methods. But I discussed only earlier, I am saying. So don't think that they are a failure. No, they are all, they have done better. So when there is a research, then only we can have further research. If it is closed, then there is no research. So they have done excellent works. So Davison method consists of diagonalizing the system matrix and neglecting the larger eigenvalues. This method yields reduced order models whose steady state value may not be the same as original. Actually, in Benjamin Seco book, he will say about the dominant poles. So only dominant poles they'll consider a region. So they'll take only those eigenvalues. Remaining values they neglect, but that is not always correct. It will give good models, but at some places it is failing. Marshall independently proposed a method for simplification problem by diagonalizing the system matrix, neglecting the larger eigenvalues, and it gives a correct steady state value. So Davison is being corrected by Marshall. Mitra developed a method of optimal projections and proved that Davison was a special case. So I told you, because order reduction techniques, there is no end to it. Every technique will fail at some point, maybe. So far no one commented mine. It may fail at some point. Similarly, Grocka and Bertrand have given a method to improve the quality of simplified aggregate models of system without increasing the order of the state differential equation. Similarly, Hicken and Sinha method retain the specific eigenvalues of the system if given in canonical form, while matching some of the generalized Markov parameters. I'll tell about Markov parameters and time moments in the next session, because I told you that I'll tell about reduction methods. Now I am giving only the necessity. Hawkeye developed an approach based on aggregation. He has shown that an aggregate model along with the aggregation matrix may simplify the synthesis of suboptimal control law for the original higher order systems. Actually, their work cannot be commented with single line, but I tried to put what they basically did. But I am telling they have done excellent work. This we must remember. The derivation of the aggregation matrix for a Davison model has been given by Lamba and Rao. Similarly, the singular perturbation method preserves the dominant eigenvalues and decomposes the system into two lower order subsystems which represent the slow and fast modes. Mahapatra, Elraj, and Sinha, Gopal, Mehta have proposed different criteria for selecting the order of the reduced order model in case of the Davison methods. Means one person will suggest some method, then there will be many modifications to it, because they will find some improvement. They can see some improvement with their methods. So that is how people go on doing research. The above methods are useful in many applications, have some difficulties such as computation of aggregation matrix for higher order systems, identifying the dominant eigenvalues, and there may be considerable difference between the steady state responses of the higher order systems and its lower order models for certain inputs. Model order reduction frequency domain methods basic principles. These methods start with a transfer function description of the original system. Frequency domain law, generally people use transfer function or transfer matrix. So the objective in this case is that the frequency domain properties of the reduced order equivalent match closely with those of the original system. Edgar proposed a method based on minimization of the integral of the squared error between step response of the original and reduced system, because See, in frequency domain, these people have followed ISC criterion that the difference means error between original and reduced must be minimized. That is error minimization technique. So it uses analytical form of the original system. A constrained nonlinear programming problem is involved with two-stage optimization procedure. So this is the way they have done. So the technique of Shoji et al. Is a two-step iterative one which uses integral square error between the step responses. They developed methodology by using ISC. Steady state response is improved by obtaining optimum residues, keeping poles constant, whereas transient response is obtained by pole optimization, keeping residues constant. So some people suggest their methods how to maintain. The method of Chung et al. Uses least square problem solving for locating optimum parameters of reduced order model. Similarly, the continued fraction expansion approach was initially proposed by Chen and Shi. The kth order reduced model is obtained by keeping first two coefficients and restructuring reduced models from it. It is giving unstable models for original stable system. The method has been modified by many authors. Actually, continued fraction, if you calculate it, it will come like a Routh table only. So a given original higher order system can be expanded into several continued fraction expansions forms such as first cover form, formed by expansion of Maclaurin series about S tends to infinity. Second cover form by expansion of Maclaurin series about S tends to 0. And third cover form is a combination of both S tends to infinity and S tends to 0 alternatively. And there is a modified cover form is using modified Routh algorithm. So the coefficients in first cover form can be obtained by long synthetic or alternatively by Routh algorithm. Actually, it is a long division. When we studied elementary school, there we used to do a division, a long division. In that way, first cover form comes. If you do in reverse, then that is second cover. So if you see simply, then they look like that. But it will be explained with a series. So the reduced order model is obtained by truncating and inverting the expansion after some time. So, okay, you are dividing using long division, but you have to truncate at some point because you want reduced order model. Suppose a 10th order model is there. You want a third order model. You truncate at second, then you'll return back, then you'll get a third order. So, however, the stability of the simplified model is not guaranteed for a stable higher order system. That is the problem we are facing. Many models have been developed because original system is stable, but these people might have suggested some methods, but for some systems they are giving unstable models. If the original system is unstable, then the reduced must be unstable. If the original system is stable, then the reduced must be stable, but it should not give the other way. So, however, the stability of the simplified model is not guaranteed for stable higher order system because denominator coefficients of the model depend on the coefficients of both numerator and denominator of the original system. Because that's why mixed methods have been developed. They are saying that if you use both numerator coefficients and denominator coefficients, there is a possibility that you may get unstable system because we will consider minimum phase systems. We are not saying that we can do only for non-minimum phase. No, you can consider minimum phase system. Means zeros could be anywhere, but for a stable system, even unstable also you can consider. So for a stable system, so we'll think that poles must be in the left half of S plane. So state space formulation for various cover forms have been studied. The continued fraction expansion method has been combined with polynomial differentiation method, dominant pole retention method, Routh approximation methods, Routh-Hurwitz array methods, stability equation. There are many methods that have been developed using continued fraction expansion. means they modified. Next to this. So model order reduction, frequency response matching basic principles. In the frequency response matching, if the magnitude curves of the reduced model close enough to the minimum phase stable higher order system in bandwidth of interest, then the behavior of the model would be similar to that of the original system. Frequency response also you can take a body plot or any, it should be in that bandwidth. In the method of Levy, an error function in the frequency response match over a frequency range of interest is minimized in a least square sense. Similarly, Nagarajan used a minimization of feedback error correlation performance index, considering higher order model as a reference and for systems without numerator dynamics. Hershey method minimizes error between higher order and simplified model frequency responses, because you can use frequency response also. Reddy proposed a method with minimization of 4 error functions. Both methods suffer from a common drawback of possibility of getting unstable models of a stable system. So there are mixed methods. So I discussed about time domain methods. I discussed about frequency domain methods. Now I am just telling about mixed methods. So mixed methods are proposed by several authors, still proposing. So continued fraction expansion with Raut-Hurwitz-Hare, stability equation method, dominant pole retention. Similarly, combined Pade and Raut by Shamash, Raut-Pade by Singh, Lepsy and Vairo, stability equation with Pade, dominant poles with Pade. Similarly, third one is differentiation method with time moment matching by Lepsy and Vairo. And what are the advantages? Because see, mixed methods, they are like an ocean. So I just took few methods only, because there will be a time constraint for me, because I have to discuss about the case study also. Then only you will be able to understand whatever I discussed. So model order reduction methods, advantages and disadvantages. In spite of many methods developed recently in time domain and frequency domain, the following facts need some attention. Pade approximation method, continuation fraction, Raut approximation, mixed model methods, pole clustering methods, eigenspectrum analysis methods have retained their popularity still. The popularity of these methods is due to mathematical simplicity, less computational effort, fitting of time moments, retention of same steady state value. However, some of these methods have been found to have some serious disadvantages, such as occasional instability of reduced order model even though the original system is stable, poor matching of high frequency zone or time response low. In that you will see T tends to 0. Not applied to multivariable systems, continuous and discrete systems and interval systems simultaneously. So actually, if you can apply for ordinary system, then you can CISO systems, then you can apply for multivariables, even for discrete, even for interval systems. But some are facing difficulties. Then what is the motivation for order reduction? There are powerful design techniques to formally solve the control problem. However, these design techniques require the manipulation of matrices with dimensions greater than or equal to that of the plant model. That's what I said, plant model is 7th order and our controller is 14th order. Also, it results in a compensated transfer function which has order equal to or greater than that of the plant. For many problems, the order of the plant is so high as to prohibit a successful design of the compensator. So if the plant order is very high, you will feel difficulty in designing a compensator. Even when the design process can be carried out, it may be desirable to simplify the compensator for implementational purposes. This could be to save implementation, computer time and memory, provide case of checkout and verification of the implementation, eliminate excessive gain scheduling, or for any of many other practical reasons. Thus, reduced models are needed to simplify the design, analysis, and implementation of the control systems. Many methods of obtaining a reduced order model exist. Actually, these are the methods I have given in reference. There are powerful design techniques to formally solve the control problem. However, these design techniques require the manipulation of matrices with dimensions greater than or equal to that of the plant model. I think I am reading the same slide. Yeah. So I'm just giving an example. See, this is there is a dashed line and a continuous line. That continuous line is a 10th order original system, and the dashed line is the second order reduced model. So the dashed line is closely following the original system. See, y-axis is 0 to 1 only, and the x-axis 0 to 3.5. So the original system is at settling at 3.5 seconds. The reduced order model also settling at 3.5 seconds. It is closely following. Similarly, if you see this second thing, all those route approximation methods and continued fraction methods, they generally give similar responses first plot, but the second plot, they that peak they can't get. That is the problem with those continued fraction methods. So mostly they fail, but of course these are my methods, because that reduced order model method is mine. So here you can see this is the 8th order transfer function, that is the dark line, and the dashed line is second order model. So it followed with peak also. So if there are peaks or damping, then the reduced order must follow same thing, because you are replicating the original system with reduced model. That is the meaning of it. So that second order model is following the 8th order model. Similarly, in this case, the second order model is following the 10th order model. That is the advantage of this reduction technique. It has to follow. Then you can design a compensator or a controller for second order so easily. But for a 8th order, 10th order, it will be difficult. Similarly, I want to tell how to design a controller. So there are options. Higher order plant is there. You design a controller, then you will get a higher order controller naturally. Then the controller must be reduced to a lower order controller. Then that lower order controller can be applied to higher order. And you are having a higher order system and you designed a controller. And you want to see that, because controller must be realized into a physical system. So make it a lower order model, then you realize the thing and apply to higher order plant. Or you can directly design a lower order controller by reducing the lower order plant, means model reduction you are using for original plant itself, then design a controller for lower order plant and then apply to higher order. You can do both. I did. So what I did in my thesis, I took a higher order system and reduced it and then designed a controller and applied to original. It has given the same performance. So I'll show you case study. What my scholar did. He has done a robust controller design. So for that, he took, nowadays people are using wind turbine. So he has taken a wind turbine model. Number of blades are 2, and the specification, I am not bothered about that specifications and all. Just like what I did in the previous slide, using that MATLAB plots. The same thing I want to show. This is a 7th order system, and it has represented with the disturbance signal also. All those 7 states are defined, and there is a pitch angle, and there is a, because we have defined all states like flap mode displacement, flap mode velocity, rotor rotational speed, and drivetrain torsional spring force, generator rotational speed, fore aft mode displacement. Similarly, all those 7 states are defined. Similarly, control input and disturbance input are defined. That is, one is pitch angle, other is wind speed. And it has defined output also. I think I noted somewhere. It is given here. So and we have considered uncertainties, because nowadays we are doing. So plus or minus 25% uncertainty we have considered for all elements of the system matrix. So 21 elements. So to plus or minus 25%, and we have given disturbance. When we design, he has designed 3 controllers, 3 types he has done. So for one, he got controller of 109th order with the disturbance, and he has reduced it to 14th order. So, and 15 degrees of freedom he has taken, and 21 elements, and plus or minus 25% of uncertainty he has considered. Excellent work has done. So here, this is the block diagram, and this is the disturbance part, uncertainty part. And I told you this is a thesis, so just I wanted to just show what is the uncertainty matrix, and we have taken 21 elements of system matrix M inverse A, and with plus or minus 25%. And we have followed all theorems, and robust controller means this must be less than 1, then only we can say it is robust. So similarly for a H infinity controller, we have to follow this procedure. We followed. Then he has designed, and he got a 14th order H infinity controller. Then he has reduced it into 7th order, and he has shown the compared original 14th order, that is blue line, and reduced 7th order, that is the red line, for all 7 states and the pitch angle. So total 8 plots. See, all are following. See, when you are doing in a state space mode, naturally some states they don't follow, generally they observe. But here if you see, all are following the thing. That is the advantage. All states almost following, and for different random wind speed at 12 miles per second, and another is random wind speed and step pitch angle. So similarly all 8 only, 7 states plus pitch angle. And this is for step wind and step beta, that is pitch angle again. This is worst case performance analysis. That's why we got a different. Actually, when you do order reduction, this initial part is always a disturbance. So we always try to improve that only. So if you see this, what is the specifications? So 14th order peak overshoot, that is time response. If you see, peak overshoot 33.4 for 14th order, 7th order 33.5. So there is a difference of 0.1. Settling time 3.65 seconds for 14th order and 3.66 seconds for 7th order. Similarly, steady state value, both are same, because it has reached to steady state. It has to come. Similarly, see, this is with uncertainties. Plus your parameters are varied, plus or minus 25%. That is the general limit people follow while doing research. So uncertainty is given, or tolerance is given, plus or minus 25%. So with that, this is the response, means excellent response. So that's why this is 33.6 and 33.7. Even for that 109th, I haven't noted this. For that also he has got similar way 109th order of mu controller, and he has reduced it to 7th order. He got similar. So just I wanted to give one example, because we found in all controllers H infinity controller is the best, though other also good, but I made a comment that this H infinity controller is the best, because while for state space representations, there we will see other things also. So this controller, I found that I checked other things, so it is giving, and we can say no one can contradict this. This is the best controller. That's what we observed. So, and the references are these, because I mentioned at some places the references. So these are the references. So any questions, please? I am coming to the presentation arena. If there are any questions, I tried to make it a brief explanation about model order reduction techniques, but it has the history of more than nearly 50 years. So I can't bring all those 50 years into a single session. So I tried my best, I think. So if you have any queries, you can.
Any queries from participant side?
In my next session, I'll take my method and how I did, I wanted to explain. And other methods also brief, because I gave a single line, but I tried to 1 hour, I don't know, I have to think. I wanted to give one familiarized thing how people do model order reduction. So
Ma'am,
if you have no questions.
I think no queries, ma'am.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you,
And
ma'am. Thank you very much.
but one thing I want to say, see, when you asked me to present, means to be a resource person, that time I had severe COVID, because April 3rd I got, and April 24th they gave me the report, RT-PCR report negative. So in those days I got severe. And when you asked me to be a resource person, I thought whether I'll see tomorrow. Then you are asking later the month.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
with your phone call, I thought चिरंजीवी जी ने फोन करके मुझे तो चिरंजीवी बना दिया. That's what I thought. Thank you very much, because I got smile on that day only. When you are saying, no, madam, you, of course, you expressed your concern, and you gave positive words and all, and you said good words, and you raised hope. Then I got smile on my face on that day. You are asking me about some days later, but I don't know what will happen tomorrow, because that day they are thinking me about to me join in a hospital. I am saying no. So somewhere at home only I completed all those days. So now I am perfectly all right.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much, ma'am, for your
sure.
valuable and informative session.
Yeah.
Once again, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity, because by birth I am a UPH, because my birthplace is Allahabad, but of course I belong to South India. Mother tongue is Telugu. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you to all those participants.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Welcome.
So, thank you all participants. Tomorrow session will start from 10 a.m. onwards. So please join 10 minutes before starting of the session. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
So link I will share half an hour before starting of the session in group, WhatsApp group. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.